All right, it's going live. Setting up your meeting for live.
Hey everyone, this is Monica Henderson with Mink, the founder and creator of Mink Life Motivation. And I am excited to do yet another Mink Life episode of Mink Life Motivation Live. Let's get into it, shall we? So, what is this Mink Life Motivation Live and what do we do here? We are a personal business brand and networking company. And what we do is we train people on a daily basis to live their best lives by using our training system. And this is the live version of our program, which is called Mink Life Motivation Live. Each week, we come together to get you motivated and getting your week started so that you can stay inspired with great commentary from experts and also keep you networking and connected to subject matter experts, as well as sharing some more knowledge so that you can have everything you need to live a life that is designed by you for you. And what better way to start your week off, right? Just in case you didn't know, today is Monday and you will live this week healthier, wealthier, and fulfilled. So as we get into all of the topics and all of the things that we have set up for you this week, I am super excited to share what is coming down the pike. And that is today, we're going to talk about branding. And we're going to talk about your executive voice. Now, you may be curious about what executive voice is, but executive is having the power to put plans and actions into effect. And your voice is a part attitude, opinion, and a feeling that you want to be expressed. And so how you do that in your business is super important. And one of the main factors in the 6 key components to your brand story. And so as we're going to dive in, I am not doing this solo dolo today. We have our Mink Life motivators who are going to step in. We have Irina Surina, who is the founder of Smart Moves 360. We have the lovely and talented Alana Jackler, who is a digital media marketing strategist, and co-founder of DigiRiot Inc. And finally, but not least, of course, we have the fabulous Miss Marcia McCray, and she is a brand strategist and the principal author and artist at the Brand Naked Agency. So I'm going to let all of these ladies in. How are y'all doing today?
Good, thank you.
Great.
Good.
Thank you.
Hey.
So,
Happy Monday!
One of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to bring you guys all in so we can chat about this branding component that we talk about as executive voice, right? And with all of you, how important to you has it been to have a strong executive voice in your branding? And I'm going to start with Marcia.
Oh God, it's extremely strong. I mean, you have to have that strong. You do, because what happens is you won't be able to lead anyone, or if you don't have that in place. So that executive voice is like really, it's imperative. And in order to do that, you have to really know who you are. You have to know who your company is. So that, yeah.
What about you, Alana? Like, I know you work with independent people talking about their business via digital media. So what would you say, how do you feel about the executive voice? How important is it?
Just knowing your story, knowing who you are is everything. It starts with that. Being able to share who you are in connection to company, this business, allows people to connect with you. I think it's super important.
And Irina, I know you're not a marketing expert, but as an entrepreneur and business owner, how has it been important for you to know your own story and your own branding so that you can put yourself out there?
Well, the way how I look at it, until you have your story clear shaped, you will be one of many. You have to have it figure it
Yeah.
out, and then you will be standing out as a brand, as some recognized face. So this is it's very, very important. It's crucial, really.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, which is why this is one of our 6 key components to the brand story. And the one reason why at Mink Life Motivation, we actually start with that, right? Knowing it as a business owner, what it is that you do within your business, or what it is that you want to do with your business, and being able to communicate that in a great way is really kind of where all of the branding starts. And so as we kind of go into our in-depth conversation, I wanted to share with you guys all the theme of the month. And the theme of the month comes from and kind of continues to go with the same theme that we've been really working through. And it comes out of the power of 6. Now, in Mink Life Motivation, we have this thing called the power of 6. And as you all get to know us better here live, we have what are called the 6 basic rights. And one of the number 1 rule in the 6 basic rights is that you have to own your own life, right? And as you begin to own your own life, that plays a part in all of your everything you do. So this month we have been talking about yourself and how you're taking care of yourself. We've been talking about how you are a leader in your business. And today more so we're talking about how you own your voice in your business as your branding. And the ownership of your own life really kind of plays a part in all of that messaging, right? And so one of the things that I wanted to do this week to help you guys get really motivated is to have you understand that your reputation will precede you, much like karma. You want it to be the good kind. Now, we use this quote in the actual program itself. So if you take one of our modules and you're in this executive voice class, we actually start the class with this. And why this is so important to me and to craft the conversation about executive voice is we live and die by how we put our words together, right? And how you build your business on your words makes all the difference. You can take ownership of crafting the message around what it is you do, but you have to be strategic and specific about it. And so I really wanted to kind of bring this forward to the live because I wanted you guys to understand that no matter what reputation your business has today, and every day after that, you have the ability to actually move that conversation forward and put it in a different context. You get to choose how people are talking about your business by being really in charge of your executive voice. And so when you're crafting your message, I want you to always remember these two questions. What is your why? And why does your company exist? Right? Those are super important for you to always have front of mind because you can't talk about your business and you can't take ownership of what's happening in your business unless you remember those as key factors. And so I'm going to ask my Mink Life Motivator community here who's on with me, what problem do you solve and how do you share to the world how you have the solution to that problem? So what problem do you solve? And how do you share to the world that you have the solution to this problem? I would love those of you who are watching this live now to share with us what your answers are to this by dropping it in the chat. But I'm going to bring my motivators back for them to be able to answer the same question. So I'm going to start with Alana this time. What problem do you solve? And how do you share to the world that you have the solution to the problem?
Sure. So I end up solving a lot of different problems in the work that I do because when you're communicating people's messages and figuring out what their needs are, first it's figuring out what their needs are. That's the problem that I solve most of the time. But oftentimes I'm empowering people with the skill set of telling stories. So most people don't know how to tell their own stories. So what I do is I empower them with the knowledge and with the understanding that the stories are there. They just need to figure out how to, fine tune them. Ultimately, we're all filled with stories. We have,
Right.
We have lives. We have tons of stories to tell. It's just figuring out what's the most impactful.
And Marcia, what about you? Like, what problem do you solve, and how do you share to the world what it is that you do to solve the problem that they have?
So the problem that I solve is to help employees and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs discover, to develop, and to use their brand voices. So it's very important for them to know themselves and to express that, because there are so many different businesses out there that do the same thing that you may be doing. So it's like so important. And as far as like, I just can't stress enough about knowing who you are, because I feel like a lot of people tend to put the marketing ahead of the identity of who your company is, which is not good, because what are you going to market? Every time you do a marketing strategy or something, it's going to be different, because you're not really filtering it in based upon who you are and the different, the tactics, which tactics to use. And as far as how I do that through lives. I do that through webinars. I do that through workshops. And of course, through my one-on-one with clients. So that's basically.
Irina, what about you?
Well, I am trying to, what I am doing, I am reminding everybody that while you're trying to establish your business, while you're trying to make sure that your business is working, while you're trying to make sure that your story is heard, probably the most important thing is to make sure that you are taken care of. And nobody but you is the first caretaker of yourself, of your own health. So what I'm doing, I'm reminding about it, and I am screaming about it. And if somebody found themselves that they went too far and there were some health issues presented, I'm helping them to find their path to their normal life, to their healthy life. And basically, that's what I do. And then they could go ahead and develop their brand and develop their business and enjoy the results of their business. And how I participate in different podcasts, I do the interviews. As I said, I scream on the Facebook, sometimes on LinkedIn, and sometimes live events whenever we have them next time.
Absolutely. So what I would say about Mink Life Motivation, right? The problem that we solve for people who have an idea about a business and don't know necessarily how to get to the next level, or if they have a business and they're finding themselves stuck and hitting a wall over and over again, we actually have a training system that works through that, right? And that's kind of the problem that we solve. The best part about what we do is we share it in a variety of ways, but how we communicate it is we say, listen, in order for you to do anything, you need a roadmap, you need a game plan, and we provide this game plan that you can actually follow step by step, bite by bite, so that you can actually get things done. We are definitely the get things done company. We help you do that. And so that is kind of how we solve it. So another way that we solve it is by having awesome people just like this come on and help you with tips and tricks and all of those things. So one of the reasons why we have created this entire program is because in my coaching and training of people, I've realized that there are people who may not be sure about if what they're going through is normal, right? Normal. Or what is happening, like, well, I don't know. I feel like, no one understands what I'm going through. And that's the hardest part about being a solopreneur for sure. And being an entrepreneur, sometimes when you have staff who are not on the same level as you and you need to kind of connect with people who are running things. And so this is that little daily dose or this weekly dose of that. And so this portion of the show has always been very important to me, because if you aren't inspired, you're not staying encouraged and you're not moving forward in your business, it makes it hard. And hearing other people's entrepreneurial journeys sometimes is just the ticket you need in order to actually get you through this week. Get through 1 week at a time is all we need you to do. And so today, Irina is going to be the one who shares her story about her entrepreneurial story and how she was able to take a tragedy in her life, right, and turn it into so much good for others, right, and be able to support her family in the process. And so I'm really excited to share the screen with Irina. Irina, I know your story, but I'm excited for you to share your story with others. So can you share how you took your story and really kind of moved into this space of creating the company Smart Move 360?
Sure. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. As I said, I scream on everything. But as I said in the beginning, that I am helping people to get control over their health. But I've never been an educator in this field, because I was not trained as a medical professional. I was not trained as a doctor. I'm an economist and I'm athlete. So this is very far away from what I'm doing right now. But my story started a while ago when I used to have a husband, and he was an entrepreneur and very busy, and the lifestyle he had led him to being diagnosed with diabetes. And for 13 years, we were more or less in control for 11 years of this disease. But the life of entrepreneur is very chaotic and very unpredictable. So as a result of all this, he started just not feeling good at all. And his kidneys failed, and his many other complications followed. So I learned how to take care of this disease. And for 2 years, I was really a caregiver instead of office manager and a mom. So he passed away. So as a result of it, what we have a family that lost husband and father. We had 2 teenagers who already were kind of missing my attention, because we're used to me being with them all the time, and suddenly I'm not, because I'm taking care of somebody else. Even though they understood that this is their father, it's still hard for them to switch to that mode. And so a couple years after that, we also had as a family to experience pretty threatening situations when kids were depressed, when kids didn't feel that life worth it to live. And so we had some other topics to learn. And this all really didn't inspire me to be an economist or an athlete or something. What I realized that my responsibility right now is to become a voice that brings the awareness of the dangers of those activities that we usually neglect. I'm talking about regular sleep. I'm talking about regular some sort of physical activity. It's not going to gym, but just making sure that regularly something is happening. I'm also, this is very important, the fuel that you put in your body, and this is very diluted right now with all the commercials and all the offers that we see everywhere in the restaurants and stores. And we do need to make sure that what we put in our body is supposed to serve it and help us to move forward, and it will not be like contaminated fuel, destroy us and stop us. So this is my job right now to, so I'm developing a class that will help me to reach even further. Instead of one-on-one working, I will be able to help more people, and this is actually pretty exciting for me right now. So this is my inspirational story. I hope somebody will hear it and will start thinking, do I do everything I need to do to make sure that my body carries me forward, so I could see the success for which I'm right now sacrificing time, relationships, and everything.
Yeah, so there's so many things. And one of the most inspirational parts about this is that in how you took tragedy, right? Something that would have crippled someone, right? Would have stopped them dead in their tracks and been like, no, like, I can't go on. I'm just gonna, like, you know, just shrivel up and just kind of exist. And you've taken that and you really found some purpose in that. And you took it as almost like a never again moment, right? Like, never again, no one else is going to go through this. No other families are going to go through this. I'm going to, you know, make sure that as many people as possible can avoid this pain that we feel. So kudos to you for, one, sharing your story, because that couldn't have been very easy to share about this tragedy, but also taking it and turning it into this moment of, like, giving you a new set of marching orders, like, okay, now we're going to change the world. And so I just want to thank you for being open with us about that. Marcia or Alana, did you guys have anything you wanted to say?
Sure. I mean, Irina, your story really touches me. It really touched me. I agree with what Monica said. Like, when you're in those kind of situations, to imagine, because to go through that and then to say to yourself, I'm going to help others. That to me is so special. It's such a special quality that you have to, you know, to go through something as hard as you did and then to say, I don't want others to suffer as well. I think that's beautiful. And then to turn that into a business, I think is super special. It's super personal to you, and clearly you're passionate about it. So I look forward to seeing where your journey goes.
Thank you.
I have to say kudos to you for taking lemons and making lemonade. Okay, seriously. Honestly, I think that's fabulous, for the simple fact that there are people that so need it, especially entrepreneurs and solopreneurs that work like dogs. I mean, they really like push, and they neglect their health. And hello, I was one of them. And so it's like taking a step back and assessing your health and taking care of yourself is what is most needed, because I'm telling you, if you don't have your health, and then, like I say, you don't have a body. How can you enjoy anything? You know, so it's like, and how can you help anybody too? You know, that's another aspect, a major aspect. So it's like, you always got to put yourself, like, take care of yourself, you know, regardless of how many things are going on. And I think that's fabulous what you've done. I really do, because God knows it's needed. It's needed.
Thank you.
It's needed badly. Yeah.
That, you know, the most amazing part about all of this, and why we're talking about, and what we're talking about today, right, is being able to craft a story around your brand, right? And I think the first step is kind of taking ownership of your life, and like how your business has kind of been impacted by the fact that you actually need you need to tell your story in order for people to understand what you do and why you're so passionate about it, right? Like, we all know someone who helps in nutrition. We all know someone who is a health coach. I mean, there's thousands of them right now, and they're all talking heads on the internet. But as you are sharing your story with us, it really does help us connect to your why. Your why is so important. And because of that why, it's probably going to inspire more people, one, to use you as a business owner, to use you over someone else, but also two, they know that they're going to get the kind of care that they want from you because you've been there and you don't want them to go through that. And so thank you for, all of that you do, but I really am appreciative of you for coming on and sharing with us today in so many ways. And so those of you who don't know Irina and don't know Smart Move 360 and haven't gotten to know her yet, I hope that you take this as a new marching order for yourself to reach out to her and have a conversation with her about why it's so important for you to have your health, right, be really well taken care of, and why it's important for the whole family to do it, not just you, but everybody around you. So thank you so much for that. I have no words. And so a little, I'm a little choked up, to be honest, about your story. So thank you. Okay, so I want to kind of change the conversation just a little bit, even still about branding, still about your executive voice. But since I have these experts here with me, I wanted to ask the question, how does taking ownership of your mistakes benefit your business branding, right? How does taking ownership of your mistakes? And of course, the two most important people of this conversation. Yes, we have Irina here and she can chime in as well, but Alana and both Alana and Marcia are branding experts. And so I really want the two of you to kind of help us kind of understand why it's so important to take ownership, right, of the mistakes that your business made. Not only just the good parts, like this great inspirational story and why we're attached to our why, but also when our business makes a mistake, then how do we use our executive voice to make lemon out of lemonade? And so I would love to start with Alana on this one. As a digital marketer and a storyteller extraordinaire, like what would you say is the most important kind of thing to understand?
Well, ultimately, owning your mistake hopefully reestablishes that baseline of trust, which I think can get lost in the mistake, but communicating it and owning it is a responsible thing to do. I know immediately when it happens, you might want to either hide or, cover it up. Because it's a scary thing to do, admitting you're wrong. But ultimately, I think what it does is it's a human thing. We're not infallible as humans. We make mistakes, and owning up to it just shows your humanity. And so if it's the kind of person that you want to continue working, they'll understand it. So I think ultimately it's, as a business, we don't have all the answers. Part of it is figuring it out and in the process making mistakes, but hopefully learning from them.
Yeah. Marcia?
So here's my thing. It's okay to make mistakes, okay? So we're in an age where it's perfection over everything. Make everything perfect and then it'll be okay. That's a fallacy. It's okay to make the mistakes, like I said, but as long as you correct those mistakes, and I mean like immediately, as soon as you find out that that is a mistake, that there's a mistake made. And so I just think that we've been brainwashed, people have been brainwashed since school, elementary school, kindergarten. It's almost like an ingrained thing that's been just pushed in, like, brainwashed us basically. And so we feel shame or, discomfort. And those are normal. I get it. But as long as you don't stay there. So like, just make sure you correct those things, like immediately as soon as you find out that you've done them, and I feel this is something I like to say, embrace the imperfect, because you are a person. You're not a machine. And
Yeah.
I've had to learn that, myself, because I'm just like get hard on myself sometimes, but it's okay. Just fix it, and acknowledge it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think
And then move on.
right.
Absolutely. That's important too.
That
That's
actually,
important.
that's what I was said while I was
That's
muted.
important.
I was like, you don't want to stay.
That's right. That's very important. Yep. I agree.
I 100% agree with everything that both of you are saying. And this conversation is actually so important just in the climate of where we are, at least in American culture, and having to kind of relive some of your mistakes in the past globally, as far as far as how treatment has been of others. There are a lot of companies who are going back and they're thinking about like the mistakes they may have made in the past. What I am noticing as a trend is the companies who own up quickly, right? And then do something about it, right? Like immediately do something about it, and their words and their actions are aligning. Those are the businesses that do so well brand wise, right? It's okay. Oh, we have a cat. It's okay to make mistakes, right? It's okay for you to have a wrong happen, especially because as business owners and as we get bigger and there are more people in your empire, it's harder for you to control each individual person's actions, and someone may do something stupid. But if you are actually taking ownership of kind of taking the narrative, right? That executive voice, taking the narrative and turning it into something beautiful, right? Or turning it into something that's a moment where we can, not only have we made a mistake, but we are 100% committed to making it right? That says volumes than a company who has done everything perfectly 100% of the time. One of those kind of things that we all know is relationships is made not in the good, cute, sexy times where you're like, oh, I love you, right? But they're made when what happens after the fight, right? What happens after things aren't right? And it's the same thing in your business. Yes, it's great if you can be 100% spot on to get your stuff together, but it's even better when you can make a mistake, acknowledge it, and then actually do something to kind of correct it. And so would you both say that there aren't too many big mistakes that can't be reworked into a positive scenario?
I think, honestly, I think any mistake can be moved into a positive scenario. I mean, it may seem hopeless, or that you can't do it, or that it's like just an impossibility, but that's not true. I think any mistake, because we are human. And that's the thing that I want people to realize, that's just part of being a person. If you were a machine, that's a different story, but you're not. So yeah, no, I don't think there's any mistake that's, regardless of how bad, how nasty it is. It may take you a while to build some trust back up, but yeah.
Yeah. Alana, did you have anything else to add? Mute. All the lovely parts of producing a streaming show on Zoom.
And mute.
Forget to unmute.
No, I think, what everything that, you and Mercy have said, you've, hit it on the nail. I was just thinking of like when brands try really hard to recover and it doesn't seem organic. That's where my head was at.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we see a lot of that, like brands are like, well, we fucked up, so we're gonna like try to get ourselves into like a do-good space and like, shift the conversation. What they do is shift the narrative, but it doesn't seem real,
authentic.
And it doesn't seem authentic.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point, right? People know when you're being real, right? I mean, that's why Irina's story is so impactful. Like, my sales, when she was telling her story, I was getting goosebumps and I was tearing up, right? Because that was her her truth, right? That was the reality of how she was feeling, right? Versus when someone is like, yes, I really care about you, I want you to be healthy, right? And it's not like their why isn't coming through. And so I think even when you are trying to correct a wrong, right, the why you're trying to correct the wrong should actually come from an organic place as well, right? And if you can correct that or that wrong by really speaking to your own personal, authentic reason why it's important for you to make these amends, I think that goes way further. People can know a fake when they see one, right? And people don't tend to people tend to buy with their hearts, right? Even though the decision-making process may be coming from different places, right? It may take some time for them to get there. They may need to know all of the, all of the information behind why it is that you're the person. They may need to see your credentials. They may need to need to be sold on the lifestyle. But ultimately, what the undercurrent of all of that should be is your authentic why. Why do you do this? Why is this important to you? Why should I help? Why should I go to you versus someone else? Those are all super important. So and that's why I really like this part of the show, the Connected Conversations, because, how many of us have just hanging out with them on a random Monday, a digital marketing strategist and a brander, right? Just hanging out, telling you about why you should do something or why you shouldn't. So I really appreciate these moments of having these conversations. Irina, what do you think? What have you gotten from this conversation that you've heard?
Well, first of all, I agree with everything, and I have my one of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill. I even had it on my phone for a couple of years, and it says, "When you're going through hell, just keep moving." Mm-hmm. And this is something that really, when you do something, if you are doing something, if mistakes are inevitable, it's going to happen. What matters how you get out of it. You learn from it, you corrected it, you keep going, or you just staying here inside of your mistake, enjoying your, having your pity party and do nothing. So just keep moving.
Absolutely. That was the lovely little cherry on this this conversation about fixing things. So the last thing I wanted to kind of talk about today is really just how do you get the help that you need, right? That is the last piece in having the conversation about your branding. It's great to be motivated. It's great to be, inspired by awesome people like Irina, right? It's great to be connected with these conversations with with Marcia and Alana about how do you change a scenario, or how do you overcome a problem, right? But how do you get the actual help that you need? What do you need to do? What are the connections you need to make? And what do you need to be asking? And so I guess I want to ask all of you, when you need help in your branding, and I know two of you are in the branding space, right? So maybe you can help us by what questions should people be asking? In Irina, when you've needed help, what have you done in order to get that help? So that's my question for the group. And let's see, who should I start with? I think I might start with Marcia this time.
So first of all, you guys, I don't like the word should. It's whatever question you've got to ask, whatever you have to ask about branding. It's, everybody's different. We all have different spaces and, different knowledge, levels as far as, that whole industry is concerned. I feel that,
I call them types of genius.
yeah, that's it. That's it. That's good. Oh, I like that. I have to write that down. Types of genius. Okay. Anyway, so I was saying, as far as getting help, God, you guys, nothing happens in a bubble. You know, many entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, and hello, I was one of them, but then I realized I had to come out of that bubble. Nothing in life or business happens that way. It's always, it requires other people and being surrounded by other people, community, having a community. And I think that's the way to really move forward, because everybody has, like you say, different types of genius, you know, and so you don't have all the pieces, you have blind spots. And so it requires you to get out of your comfort zone and to get other people in that you trust, you know, and that you can, you know, develop relationships with to help you move forward into like answering your questions or helping you out with your business or in your life, your personal life or whatever. So I think community is a big thing. And that's something that I'm really big on now, because I feel like it's so needed with entrepreneurs. Yeah, there are Facebook groups. Yeah. I understand that. But something that like hones in specifically, like finding your pact, your own little tiny group per se, even if it's only like 3 people or 4 people, you know, it's okay. As long as somebody else has eyes on what you're doing, you know, that can help you point out the blind spots and things.
That's really spot on. So one of the major drivers when I was creating, when I was scaling, right, when I was changing from being a consultant to actually creating a company where I was sharing what I had built, it was so important for me to encapsulate it in a community, because it is hard to find people who are as crazy as you about your business. And just because entrepreneurs are crazy. Don't let nobody tell you that you have to be a little bit of crazy to want to work 80 hours in your passion, right?
It's true.
So,
it's true.
You have to be a little, right? And so finding other crazy people, right? Like the birds of a feather, you're 100% right, is super helpful. And I would not be where I am now in such a short period of time without the likes of a Marcia, without the likes of a Alana, without the likes of an Arena. They all bring a different genius to the table for me, so that I can show up as my best self. And so you're right, kind of creating that community to get the answers that you need is great. Alana, what about you? What do you think is, what question should someone ask if they need help, or how do they reach out?
Well, I often feel like the hardest thing to do is the ask. Like, beyond knowing who to reach out to, I feel like we as humans tend to want to solve things ourselves. I know I do. And I also, you know, will say, I don't want to take up other people's time. And, you know, so I will put it on myself. But ultimately, it's acknowledging that we don't have the answers to everything. And you know, I might be considered an expert in marketing, but I'm certainly not considered an expert in, say, like healthcare consulting. You know, I am not. So, and that's the beauty that, I mean, back to what, you know, you and Marcia were saying, that is the beauty of having a community with different skills. You know, ultimately it's finding people that you can trust, that you trust their opinions, and that you might even not know the questions, because sometimes figuring out what the first question is really hard. So coming to someone and saying, like, I'm trying to figure things out and I don't even know the first question to ask you to figure it out, is okay, you know, because sometimes we don't even know what to ask. But usually what I try to do before I approach someone is to do like a baseline of research, so I can at least have a conversation where I don't feel like I'm like, I know nothing and I just want to, like, suck up all of your information. So in general, that's what I try to do. So I can at least open a conversation and, well, especially if you're approaching someone who is, say, someone you admire, someone who's a mentor, you want to appear as though you've, done your homework. You don't want to appear as though you're coming to the table with nothing, and I think that could be hard for someone because they wouldn't know how to help you.
Yeah.
Your friend, sure, they'll take the time. Your community will take the time, but someone who's, maybe, a notch or two above where you're at, you want to make sure you're prepared and ask and come with the right questions.
Yeah, so one of the exercises that we do at Mink Life Motivation, we have a whole section where we actually question, like it literally is a section, whole slide just for questioning, because it's so important for you to ask questions and not think that any question is stupid. There's no such thing as a stupid question. It's just an opening for you to be able to explore more, right? So if you think of the question as this is just the gateway to a new exploration and not like an indictment on how smart or how much you think then it would be super helpful. But one of the other things that that Ilana said is a couple of notches above you. A lot of people are scared to approach that a couple of notches above you person. I've heard that quite a bit, but you'll be surprised. The more successful the person is, the more they actually want to talk about how they did it. Right. And so being scared of the person who may be a little out of your league is actually counterproductive to your success, because they want to share. Think about anything that you've ever accomplished, right? It could be something small. It's I figured out how to fold fitted sheets, right? You want to share that with everyone, right? And it's the same thing in business. If you figured out a hack, if you figured out a way to do something or get around something, or keep people from oh, I found a shortcut, you want to share it. And so don't be scared to talk to that person who's a couple of notches before you. But I do recommend that you come at least prepared, like Ilana said, with at least ask some of those questions, kind of get some entry level understanding. Because if you've ever talked to a tech person and you're not a tech person, you're going to need at least a basic vocabulary to be able to keep up with the conversation. So she's absolutely right. Irina, what about you? What was how do you ask for help? How do you go about getting help in your business?
Well, one thing I keep repeating to my children, to my mother, and to my friends is actually to ask, because we as human, unfortunately, don't know how to minds. And the answer may be very simple or very complicated, but until you ask that question, there is no way anybody will volunteer the answer for you. So ask the question first. Well, and obviously ask the right person. You will not to ask the plumber how to fix your computer and then dentist to make your hair. So this is although there are some talented dentists and very educated plumbers, but you want to ask the expert who don't waste his time or your time asking around the wrong people, but asking right people. And yes, be prepared to understand what the answer will be. If you are really not on this, have no idea what you're asking about, find somebody else who will help you with that, because this is impossible to learn everything. You cannot be the expert on everything. So be realistic. If I will understand the answer, and if you're not, then find somebody who will understand it for you.
Okay, so what I have heard in this lovely conversation is to, one, ask, just plain ask, right? It will not hurt you to ask the question. Two, to make sure that when you are asking, that you are asking someone who can actually give you the answer to what you need. 3, insulate yourself with people who you're comfortable asking questions to, who you can explore these questions with, and who you can kind of build into like a book of tribal knowledge so that you all kind of grow and learn together. And 4, don't be afraid to add people who may be above your pay grade, right, to that tribe of people who are supporting you in your business. So that is a great way to share knowledge, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing that knowledge. We are nearing the end of our time, and I'm super sad. I could sit here and talk with all of y'all for days on end, but I wanted to introduce a new segment that we are bringing to Mink Life Motivation Live, and that is called the Hot Seat. So if you want to be on the show and you want to get some of your hot questions answered about your business and how you can actually get the answers that you're seeking, maybe you don't have the community and you want to get those answers. That was an accidental connection, but happy accidents happen all the time. We are offering an opportunity for any entrepreneur or business owner to get the answers to their questions. So if right after this cast, we'll be dropping in a link for somewhere for you to be able to sign up to be on the show to get your questions answered. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be a wild ride and I can't wait. And it allows me to do what I love to do, which is kind of helping people become better people. So the announcements, Marcia, what's going on in your world?
So my world, I've got Build Your Brand workshop that will be coming up. So you can reach out to, actually you can visit www.thebrandnakedagency.co/workshops. And so, yeah, because it's some good stuff in there. So yeah, check it out, you guys.
Every time I take it, because I take it often, you never stop learning as a business owner. And every time I take it, I learn something new or I get something out of it. So thank you for bringing that to the world. And is there a cost associated to that?
No, that's free. That's all free, everybody.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So you have a free opportunity to build your brand. I love it. Okay. And next up, Irina, what's happening in your world? How can people connect with you? What should we be looking out for?
Well, immediately, every morning, well, depending on your time zone, because I'm on East Coast, every morning between 8 and 9, I have my 5 minutes of inspiration to go and move. These are little videos that I have on my Facebook Smart Move 360 page. So if anybody wants to have a little motivation with their coffee, this is something that I am doing already for 100 days. Last week, it was 100 days in a row. So
nice.
That I'm kind of proud of. And I'm working on that course that I'm earlier today that will be available online. So people will be able to start helping themselves without talking to me directly. And of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, my name, I will ask to put this in the comments, so I'll put it in the comments under this post, how to connect to me directly, and this way we could talk one-on-one on the phone and see how we could get the grip on our lives and keep moving towards the goals that we have.
Perfect. And so, Alana, what you got going on in your world?
Yes. Well, I am going to be a key speaker at a digital fundraising summit at the end of August. It's August 20. If you're trying to figure out how to fundraise through digital efforts, this is the place to be, and it's free as well. Even if you're not in the nonprofit space, a lot of us are struggling trying to figure out how to market and how to, raise money through digital efforts. So I believe we will put a link to the event. You're welcome to sign up.
Perfect. And lastly, in the Mink Life Motivation community, I'm excited to announce that we are calling all dynamic speakers. Yes, we need more motivators in our community. We need people who are ready to change the world by using their professions to do so. Not only to help you, but also to help others. And you can come, and you can come, and you can come, and everyone can come. So if you are interested in learning about the Mink Life Motivator community and you want to join, again, there will be a link at the end of this post. Once we're done with all of this, we'll be dropping that in the comments, and we will get you connected to being able to use your voice for good, not only on this show, but also in our conferences and with our clients. So if you're a personal support professional, we're talking about mortgage brokers, we're talking about real estate agents, we're talking about organizers, stylists, anybody who helps someone in the personal space, help them get their lives together from one perspective or another. We need you. We need your voice. We need your expertise to help support our clients as we go through our training program, and also to help us get the word out about everybody has the capacity to live the lives that they want to live, healthier, wealthier, and fulfilled, but we need an army to do so. So I'm excited to extend this offer for all of you to join. Just click the link in the chat after this, and we will get you connected and figure out how we can use your voice to change the world. Next week, I know the show's over already, but next week on Mink Life Motivation Live, we will be focused on personal networking, right? So how you can build the dream network that you need in order to support yourself in your business and your life, because personal networking helps in all kinds of capacities. So many stories to tell you, so little time. So if you have enjoyed this, please like and share. And I hope that next week you will join us here. We have new motivators in our communities who will be joining us. We have new inspirations to share with you, and we will have someone in the hot seat to be able to kind of get their answers for their business. So I'm super excited to start this journey with you. I'm super excited to be on this journey with you. Thank you to my lovely motivators this week, Alana Jackler and Marcia McCrae and Irina Stranina. I love you all. You guys have got an opportunity to get a little glimpse into my real life. I get to hang out with these ladies on a weekly basis, and I hope that you'll want to join our Mink Life Motivator community as well. We will see you all on the flip side next week, next Monday.
Bye.
Bye.